The second episode of A Head Full of Coldplay, the podcast where melodies blend with memories and Coldplay isn't just a band, but a part of our lives. Each episode, we explore the heartfelt stories of fans from around the world, how they first discovered Coldplay, the songs that changed everything for them, and the moments where Chris, Johnny, Guy, and Will felt less like distant rock stars and more like trusted companions. So, whether you have been singing along since Parachutes or just found a way to Yellow, there is a place to celebrate the comfort, joy, and connection Coldplay has brought us all. Our second guest in this podcast series is Jennifer Forster from Munich, Germany, who is currently working as a marketing coordinator for a major engineering service, a job that really doesn't sound similar to her personality, and people might not believe it. And she knows that. But her love for Coldplay is something that everyone knows about, and that's what makes her one of the most beloved voices in the community. So, hello, Jennifer. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Amazing. So, before we start these conversations, a massive shout out to my co host, Asha Denny, who couldn't join us for this episode, but she'll be here in the upcoming one. So, let me start this conversation with a very cliched question, but very important one. So, how did you first encounter Coldplay's music? So, can you take us back to the very first time you heard a Coldplay song? So, what
Yes.
was the moment like? I mean, was it a moment of chance, like on the radio, in a movie, or at a concert, or did someone special introduce you to them?
No. It was actually no one introduced me. I introduced myself, if I can say it like that. It was actually a bit of a challenging time. So I can tell you it was in August 2015. I can remember this. That was around the time when my mom started to struggle with depression, with anxiety, and it was a bit of a tough time for the two of us because I only grew up with her, so I don't really know my dad. And still, she was always super supportive. But there was this moment in time, I was just finished with my bachelor studies and I had to move on. And I found a perfect master program and I had to move away from home. First time, I had to move to a different city, not too far away, but still 1.5 hours. And she supported me, but I could see how sad she was. And it broke my heart because she didn't come with me. And just seeing her waving at the window and like saying goodbye, this day, it was pretty tough. And then I arrived in my new flat. I was the first one, it was a shared flat. And I just started to set up my furniture. And I just sat down and started crying. And I was like, what should I do now? And so I just randomly played some songs on YouTube. You just say music, play, and the playlist will just create itself. And I think the first song I heard was Every Teardrop is a Waterfall. No, yeah, it must be 2015. We're right. No, I'm not mixing up the songs. Yeah. And I didn't know it was Coldplay. I just heard the song. And so it continued. And after a while, like a few days, I just could feel this kind of music I'm listening to. It really helps me. It gets me into a special mood. Sometimes I would hear a really sad song, but still it just made something, and I was sad and happy at the same time, and everything felt easier. And I called my mom and I talked to her, and yeah, and in the end I realized that I just had a playlist full of Coldplay,
Oh.
full of Coldplay songs. And that's how I got introduced to the band, and that's when I started to like research them, when I started watching videos, when I started watching videos of their live shows. And that was also the moment when I would tell everyone that's the band I want to see live one day. So
Um,
that's how it started. Yeah.
Amazing. So, my story is pretty similar. So, in 2008, that was the first time I heard a Coldplay song, and it was like I had my first mobile phone that had an MP3 player in it, and
Yeah.
I asked one of my cousins to give me songs, and some English songs to I just could listen to them. So I was doing some of my schoolwork, and suddenly the scientist plays in that playlist, and I'm like, okay, this song is something that I don't know, it evokes something in me, and it was so emotional. I think at that time I couldn't relate to the lyrics at the level that I do right now, but
Yeah.
still still at the time I could understand the lyrics, and after that it was like just a marathon, like Yellow and everything. So yeah,
Yeah, right.
it was like I couldn't stop. Until now I can't stop, this happens. So now you have told us, how you got introduced to them, but what was the first Coldplay song or album that truly made you a fan? Was there a particular track or album, that captured your heart and made you want to dive deeper into their music?
I think it was Every Teardrop. I just listened to it days, hours. Because the lyrics, every teardrop is a waterfall, that was like, it was me. But still the song as such is not sad, it just makes you happy at the same time. I think that was the first song. I don't really have a specific album. If I would have to tell you one, it would be maybe Milo. But I'm also a huge fan of Everyday Life, which is a bit underrated because they didn't tour with it.
Yeah.
But it's more like specific tracks from different albums, I would say. So Every Teardrop is a banger. Everglow has a special meaning now for me as well. I know, don't blame me, but still, it's a nice song.
Yeah.
And also like Cliche, Fix You. But I'm also a true fan of Orphans, for instance. So it's just different songs. I connect different moods to different songs, and I just love that the rotation song is Charlie Brown, in fact.
Yeah.
So whenever Charlie Brown comes up, you will find me on the dance floor jumping around. So it's not a specific album, like that's the one. It were specific songs, and it just evolved.
Amazing. I don't know what I'll give to hear Orphans live. I will be like, okay, now I want to hear.
Oh my God, I would love it.
Yeah.
I would love it.
I
One day, Coldplay,
yeah.
please.
And I think you talked about Everglow, and people like, on Twitter, they are like, okay, once again they've played Everglow and they are just playing, not changing the songbook. I think I was one of the lucky ones who saw them playing Up and Up in Abu Dhabi, I think in the last
Yeah, me too. I was there as
yeah.
well.
So
I had amazing songbook so far. I can't complain. I mean, I love Everglow, but I had it 1 or 2 times.
Okay.
I had Gravity, I had Trouble.
Yeah.
I had all the bangers, literally. I had Up and Up, and yeah. And I also got a black set list, the one Chris writes, in Hong Kong, and it said for the first night, To Be Seen, Charlie Brown or Orphans.
Okay.
So I was really hoping the next day it would be Orphans, but still waiting for this one.
Yeah, they're still same here. I mean, if they start touring again with their final albums, I hope that they play these songs as well. So now, moving forward, now, when did you realize that Coldplay was more than just another band to you? Can you describe the moment you realized their music had moved from being something you simply enjoyed to something that truly mattered? And, when did Coldplay's songs started feeling personal, like a soundtrack to your life rather than just music playing in the background?
I think it was actually with my first live show. Still, I could feel it's something different because, I love listening to music. If you just have a look at my YouTube playlists now, it's not only Coldplay.
Yeah.
I just love exploring new songs, new music, new artists. But I went to a lot of concerts in the past. I had a perfect student job. I worked at shows. I don't know how many artists I've seen, but it was only in August 2024 that I finally went to my first Coldplay live show. You won't believe it right now when you know my story now.
Yeah.
But I always thought that post-concert depression is just like a buzzword. People would use it.
Yeah.
It never happened to me. And after I went to 2 shows in Munich, it happened.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, okay, that's what they're all talking about. And I hated myself because it was such a beautiful event, such beautiful, amazing 2 shows, and I was a mess. I was crying. I didn't want to go to work. I didn't want to do anything. But that's when I realized, okay, this band is doing something with me. And I just had seats and a nice floor, standing on the floor the second night. So nothing really special, but still, I knew it was not the last time. And I have to see them again. And I think just, as I said, it's an evolving story. It's not like I have this one specific moment, but I didn't know back then that traveling for the shows would be something I would really get into it. But then I realized they would play at the Jingle Bell Ball again in London in December, which is not a Coldplay show as such, but they were one of the artists. And seeing Christmas lights, front row, I didn't know that I had front row tickets.
Okay.
It just happened. And that's when everything changed. Seeing this song front row, like literally being able to hold Chris' hand if I would love to. And this song live, this atmosphere, the first time traveling again after a few years and traveling for Coldplay, that's when I knew here's something different. And I really, really want to get into that community. That's when I created my X account and I didn't know how it would work. You know, social media can be a bit toxic, so I'm trying to stay away sometimes. But that's just when everything went like this.
Amazing. You know, just like you said, you attended first concert in 2024. I saw them.
Yeah, in August. So it's
Yeah.
not even a year.
Yeah. So I think I saw them for the first time in 2016. So they were traveling to India for a one-off performance. Not it was not like a tour. So it was like a global citizen thing. We had Jay-Z and all other artists, but the headliners were Coldplay. And one of my cousins used to work with Global Citizen at the time. So she called me and she said that Coldplay is coming. If you want to come over, you can. So I just said yes. Okay, I had to. Okay, I saw them from like I think like 500 meters away from the stage. I was like, okay, I just want to experience it and everything. And they started off with a head full of dreams, and my mind and my mind was blown and my heart sank. And I was like, what do I need to do now? And everyone is jumping and everything. And I think this was the first time I also heard the Paradise remix. And I was like, okay, I didn't know that they remixed the song. But I think after 2016, this was the second time that I saw the tour that they were doing. And it was like first time I actually crossed continents to watch a live music show. And I was like, in my life, I never thought that I would do that. But now I have
same for me. For me.
Now I can't stop. I want to do more. And now I hope that I get to do this, more. Now, you have told me that every teardrop is a waterfall holds a special place for you because that was the first song that, you came up when it comes to Coldplay. But which other Coldplay song holds the most personal meaning for you and why? Is there a song that feels like it was written just for you? Maybe it just mirrors your experiences, emotions, or a chapter of your life.
Yeah, it is indeed Everglow.
Ah, yes.
You know what I told you about Every Teardrop? It was when my mom started struggling with depression and everything. And that was the first song I was listening to when setting up my furniture and like thinking of her. And, I told her she was standing at the window waving and crying. So every teardrop is a waterfall. Sadly, my mom never really got better. So I'm sharing some personal details here, but I don't mind. She got into drinking alcohol. She was still the best mom you could have asked for, but I couldn't help her anymore. And sadly, she passed away in January 2021. And Fix You is one, but that's the sad song. But it's Everglow, and it's especially the verse or the lyrics they won't play at the live shows, like a goddess, and the second one. I can see her, I can feel her, I can hear her in those lyrics, in those lines, and it's just like that's the song. It was written for my mom and now for me. So yeah.
Amazing. Now you have shared some personal experience with us, and what happened during that time. But is there any personal Coldplay's music has ever helped you through a difficult time, whether it was a grief or uncertainty or even just a lonely life? Has there been a moment when Coldplay's music felt like a lifeline and not just anything to cope with? Which lyrics, offered you that kind of comfort or a sense of healing?
As I said, I'm a huge Charlie Brown fangirl. And just, you have a tough day at work. It's not a specific moment, but you have those tough days. Everything annoys you. You want to quit your job. And Well, it was a moment. I was just there. I forgot about my laundry.
Mm.
So I had to wash it again. I was so pissed that night. I think it was just a few weeks ago. And I was hanging it up and it was still wet. And I was so annoyed. And then I just decided it's Charlie Brown time. And I was jumping around my flat like for 1 hour. And I just heard it on repeat. Charlie Brown would always get me. It would always get me.
Oh, okay. So, so now I'm, going to these personal memories, because Coldplay, is for the community, it is so special that they actually evoke very a kind of, personal kind of memories for them. So, are there any personal memories or milestones forever tied to a Coldplay song? Do certain songs instantly transport you to a specific moment, like, falling in love, a bittersweet goodbye, or a major life change?
Mm, I'm just thinking of it because, well, I had my specific moment with my mom,
Yeah.
actually. Well, as I said, orphans.
Yep.
I started this traveling journey.
Hmm.
And through traveling, I met one of the best friends I could have asked for, like my traveling buddies. And it's like the line, I want to know
Oh.
when I can go back and get drunk with my friends. So I don't necessarily need to get drunk with my friends, but sharing these experiences, these journeys with my friends. And whenever I listen to Orphans, it's like, oh yeah, next trip is around the corner. Hopefully, it's gonna see them again because we are like spread. Of course, we are Europe, but it's Italy, it's UK, it's Germany. We have a friend from Switzerland. We even have one from Mumbai, India. And the only way we can actually see each other on a regular basis so far have been Coldplay concerts. And I think it's that coming together with my friends. And if I would connect a song to that, it's Orphans. It's just,
Okay, so
yeah.
now you told me that you saw Coldplay live for the first time in 2024. Now I want to know about that experience. Take us through your first live Coldplay concert. What was your energy like? What emotions ran through you as the band, took the stage? Were there any unforgettable moments, like, hearing your favorite song live for the first time?
Yes. Well, I didn't watch a whole live show before. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to know when they would play which song. I knew, all the songs, but every song just made me so happy because when you could just hear the melodies, like, oh yeah, they're playing it. And I think a special moment, it's for everyone. It's the Sky Full of Stars. Just hearing it live, that really got me. I've never experienced like this songbook thing. We had a really special songbook with a girl, I think, called Vanessa. She had something with anxiety that was also really touching. Because as I haven't seen any shows before or I haven't watched any videos, it was just the whole show. So I was like a kid, like waiting for the next song. What would it be? What could it be? I didn't know about songbook. I didn't know about rotationals. I had no expectations. So I had expectations because it was Coldplay, but even those expectations were like exceeded. And after the show, like when talking about emotions, it was like I was standing there. My friend was like, Jenny, we have to go now. It's like, no, this can't be over. These were like the best 2 hours of my life. And I thought it would be amazing because I love the songs, I love the music. I heard that Coldplay must be a good live band, but it was like, this can't be real. It's over now. And so it was just everything. And that's also when I felt afterwards, when I felt this kind of depression coming up, which I haven't felt like that before. Of course, I had like sad moments with my mom, but it was the first time I was also like feeling really, really down. And so I actually said to my friend, that was the first and last show. I can't go through these emotions again. But yeah, well, it happened.
Yeah. So, like you said that about the song rotations. I think during this tour, I think the two kind of rotations I really loved. I think the way that they introduced Viva la Vida, like just the scientist going back and then just start
that's awesome.
that,
That's so cool.
and then how they introduced Paradise, and like I think Chris was just doing this do 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 and just that violin hits, and it's like the beam of light and everything. It was so amazing to see. And I think I think when it was Viva La Vida, I jumped so high that I actually heard someone behind me. And I had to say for the half of the song, I had to say just sorry to him that, okay, I'm sorry, I hurt you because of jumping so high. But yeah.
I feel really sorry for everyone around me because I can't sing, but I was singing along, of course, and
Yeah.
now they all have my beautiful singing voice in their videos. I'm really sorry. And yeah, but the energy was great. I had seats, quite good ones, but still,
Okay.
I was there with a friend and her dad, so we just managed to get seats, and still everyone was happy and jumping around. It was a bit nervous if, like, I never had seats before.
Yeah.
If it would be like the same feeling and atmosphere, but it was awesome. Yeah, and I said sorry to everyone around me because this singing voice will be on your videos forever. Really sorry for that.
Yeah, I think the best moment was, so we reached very early for that Abu Dhabi show, and we were like, okay, we need to be very close to the stage. But one of our friends told us that if you want to see them, the best experience to stand with the barriers that they had in the middle of the
Yeah.
stadium. So I was like, okay, we should stand, and they just walked past like Chris was like, and I was like, my voice, I want to say Chris, I love you, but my voice is not coming out of my mouth. I'm like, what should I say? Then he just ran back to the main stage in front of her and jumping like he was like, I was like, okay, was that real? That he just, it was like 10 meters away from him, I was. And I was
Yeah,
like,
that's awesome. And they're like that close.
yeah.
I had actually my first early entry ticket for Abu Dhabi, and I was at the B stage. Like, everyone needs to be at B stage all the time. And I was standing at that door. So where I would like just walk out to walk through to the C stage. And that was like, of course, the show was nice, but that was like the special moment, seeing them that close and walking. And yeah, that was really cool.
Now, like you said, the Coldplay concert experience, or, listening to their music has also led you to new friendships or, community connections. Being a fan often leads to finding a family, beyond blood. So how did you meet your friends, or even formed online communities, thanks to your love for Coldplay? So tell us about those relationships that have blossomed because of this shared passion.
I think it all started with Abu Dhabi, or creating my X account, because after the Jingle Bell Ball, I finally made my way a bit into the community.
Okay.
And finally, and I was looking online for tickets. Yeah, no official resale, so you have to find your ways. And then someone from the community reached out and asked if I would be interested in volunteering.
Okay.
So for the second night, I was still looking for a ticket. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So it was with Culture City.
Okay.
Really, really loved that I got this amazing opportunity. And she also volunteered on the second night. So that's how I met her. And on the first night, I met someone in the EQ, just because we were queuing all day long.
Yeah.
And he also volunteered. So again, we got together and we saw each other again after the second show at the tent, saying hi to Shaheem, like maybe getting a set list, things you do. And we just realized from these like few hours sharing the queuing experience, the EE experience, but also volunteering and seeing the show afterwards, it's just a match. We go along pretty, pretty well together. And from this moment on, I mean, my Abu Dhabi story is what I traveled back home. They would stay for another 2 days, and then I would receive a message. So maybe if you can make it to Mumbai, I could help you to get tickets.
Okay.
So I had 48 hours at home, just managed everything, visa, unpacking, packing again, and then I flew to Abu Dhabi to Mumbai.
Bye.
So it was just we knew each other we've known each other for like 2 days, queuing, show. Oh yeah, and he like tried to kill us with pani puri. No, it was a bit spicy, I have to say. Yeah. But we just had the best night, laughing, hanging out after the shows, and sometimes you just know it's a match. And being invited to the shows to Mumbai, and then afterwards we just like, okay, what were the next shows? Hong Kong, should we do it or not? And we traveled to Hong Kong. And it's just like we have the same spirits, we have the same love for Coldplay, but we also like have the same interests. We just get along so well. So it's not only about the shows when traveling, we're doing sightseeing, we're doing everything, and it just needs to be like a match, as I always say, because you're hanging around or you're hanging on each other like for 24 hours something. So yeah,
Amazing.
awesome, I love it.
Amazing. That's how it happened with me. So we were like, I think it was the morning of the last Abu Dhabi show, and I was like, I was still looking for tickets for Mumbai or Ahmedabad because that is much closer to me rather than
Yeah.
going to Abu Dhabi. So we tried it in the morning and we just found out, I think 5 tickets were available standing for the Mumbai 2 shows, I think. So we
Mm-hmm.
bought it. We bought it in the morning and just attended the Abu Dhabi show. Went just traveled back home 2 days after we were traveling to Mumbai.
Oh yeah, same story. We're
Yeah, last
sharing the
and
same story.
it's like and what happened is that I attended the last Mumbai show. My friends asked me if you want to see the Ahmedabad show. I mean, like, I don't know if we get the tickets. They told me that they have 4 tickets. I'm like, okay, now I'm coming. So I saw the 2 shows in Ahmedabad as well.
Awesome.
And
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God. Yeah.
in 1 month, I saw 4 Coldplay shows, and I'm like, okay, what can be better
Yeah,
than this? So
same for me.
yeah,
5 Coldplay shows in January. What else to come?
yeah. Yeah. And I was like, I think that was the time I messaged you on X as well. Okay, if we are in Mumbai, then if we can meet, just meet. Then but in all this madness around, the concert and taking out the travel and I think we couldn't meet, but maybe next time and in other
Next
part of the
time.
world. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, my last question for you, Jennifer, is so there have been eras of Coldplay's music, whether it was Parachutes, A Rush of Blood, to the Head Full of Dreams. Which era of Coldplay's music resonates with you with the most? From the raw intimacy of Parachutes, or so is there any era speaks to you most deeply?
I think I have to say it's actually the new music era, because that's when I got introduced to their live shows and when my amazing traveling journey started as well. So, I mean, I love songs, as I told you, from kind of every era and from every album, but that's just when my special journey started. And I'm really deeply connected to all of the songs, to the live shows. And yeah, it's just that's that's for me.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for joining me for this episode. And it was such an amazing time for me to talk to you and to know more about you, to know more about your love for Coldplay and how you overcame some really difficult times because of Coldplay. So thank you so much for joining us, and
Thank you
I hope
for
that
setting this up.
I mean, it was not easy to do. It took me 2 months to just come up with the idea that I have to do something. And then thankfully I had Ash who said, she wanted to try something and, if we could try something together. So, we just started this and, I hope that this synergy is happening. I hope more and more people come and, join us and tell their stories. So we are
Oh, I
just
will
hoping
spread
for
the
it.
word for sure. That's so cool. The idea, yeah, it's amazing to hear the fan stories. I love it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.